The playoffs have arrived in Texas high school football, and two McKinney ISD teams begin their quest for a state championship this week. Hello and welcome to Sports Talk. I'm Tyler Sloan. McKinney North not only pulled off the upset in Denison, they clinched a playoff spot and a share of the District 13 4A crown. Coach Mike Fetchy is here to preview the Bulldogs' first round opponent. McKinney Boyd took the spoils of the crosstown rivalry with McKinney High last Friday. Coach Don Drake joins me to review their highlights and look at the Broncos' playoff matchup. Coach Jeff Smith will also be in studio to review the McKinney Lions season, and I'll get his thoughts on preparing for the spring and next fall. Saddle up because we're about to take off on another edition of Sports Talk. McKinney Lions have finished up their season. They weren't able to get it done in their rivalry game against McKinney Boyd, losing 28-0, but a very good defensive performance from this team to go out. I'm joined by their head coach, Jeff Smith, and the defense really stepped up in this game. I think that was the key takeaway from this game against Boyd, a team that has been putting up some stellar offensive numbers, especially on the ground. And you held them pretty well and had a chance in the second half to claw back your way in this game.
We did, and I was pleased with the defense. I thought played pretty well. You know, we had to make some adjustments. They did pop some runs on us early, as they do against most people when they play. They have a good ground attack, and they throw the ball well. But they scored a couple of touchdowns in the first quarter, and after that it was 14-0 at half. And I thought we played better in the second quarter, made some good adjustments. They did score 2 in the second half. But you know, that's a pretty explosive offense. I thought our defense did a good job holding them. For the most part, I thought in the secondary that was probably one of our best games. I mean, we contested all the balls that were thrown and really kept everything in front of us really well and tackled well. And so it's definitely something to build on, and I thought our kids gave great effort.
We'll go ahead and look at the highlights now. And really to start this game off, as you mentioned, they popped two big runs on you. Dedrick Scrivens, number 3 runner in the area, definitely a guy that's hard to stop. But they also have Curtis Ladd, a very good dual-threat quarterback, and you really limited his ability to make plays in this game.
Yeah, you know, he is, and we try to contain him. You know, a lot of the, not really sacks, but the plays where we were able to stop him from throwing the ball really were coverage sacks. We had it covered pretty well, and then he had to pull it down and run, and we were able to converge and make a tackle. So I was pretty happy with the defensive line and doing that. Also the secondary for the coverage sacks, so pretty good job.
What were some of the things that you guys discussed in practice in the week leading up to this game about how to game plan for McKinney Boyd?
Well, you know, it all starts with their running game, and they run, you know, a few run plays that they're very good at where they're pulling people just like this play right here. And you know, we want to get as many bodies to the ball as we can, and so we worked quite a bit on that. And obviously they popped a couple on us by getting movement up front. And I said that earlier in the week. It really all starts up front for both, you know, the offensive and defensive line. And the runs that they were successful on, they got a lot of movement on us. But, you know, pretty good job. We wish we could have done a little bit better.
Yeah, obviously, Boyd has a great defense, and your offense was limited in this game. Only 119 yards. What was the most struggle that you had, and what area did you struggle the most in this game?
Well, again, you know, just getting movement up front. Their front 3 that they rotate quite a bit are athletic and very physical. We did get some movement at times and had some positive plays. Tyree right here, Tyree Johnson, did a really good job. You see him pulling this and getting up in there. I thought he had a really good game for us, playing a little bit of quarterback and a little bit slot for us, kind of giving us a little bit something in the backfield. But really, it was a struggle up front. They're very good up front, and that's where we had our struggles, getting pressure on Brian, not being able to throw the ball down the field, or not being able to establish the run like we wanted to.
And we saw you moving the ball on that drive, and you get to the 4-yard line at that point, and it's one of those situations where you're down 14-0. You really need touchdowns, not field goals, and you go for it on a 4th and goal from the 4. And on that particular play, what happened?
Well, we run a screen on that fourth down play, and they do a good job and stop it. It was 4th and 1. We could have got a first down and got a new set of downs on the goal line, but they got a stop and did a good job defending it. Like you said, I wanted to go for it. We really didn't have it tomorrow. That was our final game, and field goals against this good team. You got to take every chance that you can to score touchdowns against Boyd when you get them, and so we went forward and didn't get it.
Obviously, next year you have a lot of players coming back, a lot of juniors, and even Tyree, who's a sophomore, coming back, a lot of guys that can make a big impact. In this particular game, you got a lot of them involved, too.
We did. We had a lot of sophomores that have played all year for us, some out of injury necessity, but some are really talented and were playing early in the year. They're not really sophomores anymore. They're pretty seasoned. They played against, some of the best talent in North Central Texas in our district, and so there's no better way to prepare a young man than playing in our district. It's just you kind of take some lumps along the way and you kind of learn some tough lessons, playing some of those younger guys. But they did a really good job, and some of our juniors as well really stepped up, as underclassmen and played hard, especially with injury. I think, we got hit with some pretty good injuries throughout the year, losing Kenan Samuel, losing Ty Stone, losing TV for a little bit, losing, different guys. It was tough. That's football. That's part of the game, and we all know that. But that's where the young guys had to step in and got a lot of reps. And so with that happening, we're going to return some guys that have gotten to play against some pretty good people next year, and that's going to help us out a lot.
On offense, you have a lot of weapons coming back. Marcus Cross, Austin Lowood coming back. You have Antonio Oliver, who's been solid all year long, carrying the ball for you, your leading rusher this year, coming back. And then you have the two quarterbacks, Tyree Johnson as well as Brian Sutter. Looking ahead to spring practice and then to next fall, what are the things that you would like to see them improve on to reach that next level next year?
Well, we're just going to need to get in that weight room first and foremost and really bang the iron a little bit and just, physically be a lot stronger, a lot bigger, and add some muscle. And we'll do that in the weight room. And then, obviously, the skills will start in the spring when we get closer to spring football. And we're going to try to get that going early. We want our football IQ to continue to go up and get smarter in the game. And, Coach Waller, defensively, he got here last spring, but now he's been here a year. He's going to have more of a chance to work through off-season with them. And, Coach Jordan is excited to get his hands on these two guys, these quarterbacks and skill guys, and we'll start working with them. And so we'll take the experience that we learned and we'll have a great off-season, have a great spring, and, be ready for next year.
You have a lot of seniors on both sides of the balls are leaving as well. Good to see TV Williams back in this game. Had 3 catches, made an impact. Good to see him in his final game. He missed the last couple of games. Good to see him back on the field for that.
Absolutely. I know that's what he wanted to do, was to finish in his uniform and finish on the field, and he was able to do that. And not everybody was able to do that. Kenan was not able to do that because of the severity of his injury. And though he was out there with us, it's hard. And I was glad that TV got to play and some of those seniors got to play in that final game. I know they're a special class to me. I had them since they were freshmen. That was my very first year at McKinney, and I've said this many times. I really appreciate their effort and all the things that they put into our program for 4 years. And so we'll miss those. That's part of it, saying farewell to those guys and their sacrifice. But and we wish them well. I know that the lessons we learn in football can be used in life, and so feel good about where they're heading.
Looking back on the season, obviously you started out 3-2 with the non-district schedule, and then the 5 losses come in district play. But one thing that you did prove in this district through the last couple of years being in District 10-5A is that you're a team that is not going to be, non-competitive in those games. You were in about 3 different games, at least, in the fourth quarter with chances to win this year. It's not as if you're one of those teams that just kind of sit there and fold over.
Right. No, and that just goes to our kids and our coaching staff and, just how hard they fight and their belief and their work ethic. And, you're right. 3 games we're in them, have a chance to win, and it just didn't happen. And so, that's something that we need to focus on, is finishing and winning those games, and that's what we'll be focusing on the offseason and pushing through next year in those games and winning those games. Last year we won a couple of those. We beat Plano East and, beat some other people. And so that's something that we're going to need to do a little bit better and finish those games. But it is nice to see our kids battling, even when we're outmatched or they have more kids, all the things that you hear about our district. kind of where we're at. You know, our kids never made excuses. And these seniors were put in this district, and they just went to work, and as well as our other kids. And so I was proud of their effort. I just wish that it would have worked out a little bit differently.
Obviously, between this season and next season, there's the reclassification is going to happen. It does every 2 years. You have a potential to be put in a district with different teams than you were this year. And, of course, to make things even more confusing, now there's going to be a 6A district or classification, a 5A, and all these teams are going to be shuffled around. You have to reschedule. So really going into next year, you don't exactly know who you're going to be playing and all of that. How difficult is an off-season like that for you?
Well, you know, off-season is all kind of intrinsically focused on ourselves and ways that the McKinney Lions can improve. And that's really where we need to put our mind and focus is on ourselves and how we can be better. And I'm talking from me, myself. I'm looking at myself to our kids, to how we do things, to everything. And that's what you do when you want to get better. You look at yourself pretty critically, and you say, okay, what do we need to do to get better? And you know, that's what we're going to do this offseason, and we're really going to focus on ourselves and how good the McKinney Lions can be. We really can't control where we're put. You know, we couldn't control that 2 years ago when we were put in this district, and everybody was, you know, talking about the size disparity in our district and all the challenges that we would face. And I tell you what, looking back over those 2 years and that news coming out and coming into these 2 years and everybody worried, I couldn't be more proud of our kids, you know. And obviously we didn't make the playoffs. We didn't accomplish one of our goals, but these kids did a whole lot more than a lot of people gave them credit for and really doubted them, and they overcame a lot of that. And that's with all of our programs, not just football. And so I'm pretty proud of our school and what we accomplished. And, you know, we're excited about the realignment, see what happens with that. And obviously that's going to be a lot of newness and a new chapter and a new challenge. And one thing's for sure, it's good football in North Central Texas. And it doesn't matter where you go, whether you're 5A, 6A, 4A, it's good football. And you gotta be ready. So we're going to do that in off season and see what happens.
Well, Coach, thanks again for joining us here all season long. We really appreciate it, and good luck to you guys in the off season, and whoever you end up playing next year, good luck.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
That's Jeff Smith, the McKinney Lions head coach. McKinney finishes the year 3-7 overall. They were 3-2 in non-district. Some injuries started to catch up with this team in the late going. Weren't able to win a district game, but through the 2 seasons they've been in 10-5A, one thing they've proven is that they belong and they competed toe-to-toe with all of the giants in their district.